Today, we're talking about what is CofO and what is governor's consent. We'll also be checking what are the required documents needed to obtain either a CofO or a governor's consent. And finally, also talking about what are the preceding title on which you can either get a CofO or a governor's consent on a particular land. If this is your first time of coming across our YouTube channel, my name is Olajide. I'm the lead consultant at World Homes and Property. What we'll do on this YouTube channel is to guide you on real estate investments here in Lagos. I will also share with you the best real estate deals in your own preferred location. So for the best deals, safe investments, good returns, you want to be a part of this family. So subscribe now. I can also just also personal guidance too as well. To subscribe and stay tuned. Let's get back to the topic of today. In my previous video, I talked about all the land titles we had and then the hierarchy of land titles, right from before the land decree 1978, how land was, and step by step land title documentation basically. So I'll first make a reference back to that video. I didn't want to watch that video properly. You can check the description box below. So now first of all, I'll just do a short summary of that particular chart and how it applies to you obtaining COV and government consent. And I'll now explain it basically what it all stands for. What does a COV means? COV stands for Certificate of Occupancy. It is only issued once and it has a lifespan of 99 years. What happened after 99 years? We don't know yet because even the law has not lasted up to 99 years. Whenever my client asks me, I tell my clients that most likely just have to go back to land bureau and then renew the COV documents basically. So COV is only issued on a land once. Either Lagos government allocated COV, government allocated COV, global COV, and even some lawyers call it general COV or just COV. It is only issued once and they all mean the same thing. A COV is a COV. No matter the other names that was attached to it, whether Lagos State government, government allocated, global, general COV, they all still mean the same COV. Just that probably they just reference how those COV was gotten, but they all still mean the same thing. Now, governor's consent. Governor's consent is literally your deed of assignment documents. Let me explain. Deed of assignment shows documents that transfers ownership. Let's say you are watching now, you're Mr. A. Now let's assume Mr. A, you own a house in Ikoyi, and then you sell that house to me. The document that shows that you transfer ownership from you to me, deed of assignment documents. Now, when we take that deed of assignment documents, and then we go to land bureau, now register that deed, the governor or the secretary general now when I put a signature to signify their consent on that transaction between you and me, then that becomes that will now become a governor's consent. So you either call it governor's consent or you either call it registered deed of assignment documents, basically. Now, talking about how to get silver documents. Depending on my screen, those are necessary documents you will need to get any silver, any part of Lagos. So let me just recite them out. You will need a photograph of the property, a copy of the above survey plan, certified true copy of title document of the assigner, that's the vendor. You will need evidence of payment of land use charge. You will need 4 copies of the deed which consent is sought. You will need evidence of payment of endorsement fee, charting fee, and Form 1C. You need a completed Form 1C. You need current tax clearance certificate of you and the assigner. You need covering letter, and you will need a copy of the applicant and his agent identification, basically. Those are necessary documents you're going to be able to process a governor's consent any part of Lagos. And then also attached to this, you're going to be also be needing register survey and then obviously a deed of assignment document between the buyer and the seller. So register survey, those are documents and these other things that were listed on the screen here. Basically, what you just need to take and then reach out to your lawyer or your lawyer just require them from you and then process your CFO basically. Now, I made a previous video explaining the land title hierarchy before 1978, after 1978, and even to date. So I'll make a quick reference back to that video now on this particular video. And you can also do well to check out the description box to watch that video in full So let me just give us a very brief summary of what I explained in that particular video. After land decree in 1978, we had some lands that were put under committed acquisition. That means land that the government already had plans for, either for any type of public use, either cemetery, canal, airports, whatsoever. And then we have some lands that were put under non-committed acquisition. What that means is that government just acquire those lands, but they don't have any plan for those lands right now. Probably in the future they might have, or probably they want to use those lands to generate revenue. They might keep those lands. So government acquire those lands, but they don't have any plan for them right now whatsoever at all. Now we also have some land that they were free land. So places like Epe, Badagry, Ikorodu, some part of the mainland, they were literally free land. So government did not acquire them. Government did not give it to anybody. They are just there basically. They are just free land. No plan for them. No future acquisition. They are just free land. And when free land means that there is no any title yet whatsoever on those land. They are just there basically. So that's just that about what I talk about in that previous channel. Then I explain how we now go ahead and process the CofO and also governor's consent basically. You can see the part where we have computer acquisition and we have the free land. So as well, the final part we have either governor's consent or either CofO and governor's consent. That's the last title of land and title perfection in that hierarchy basically. What's a particular video? I'll be displaying a different chart on how we can just go ahead like from the current land title you have, the most likely land titles where you can just go from that title and then obtain either a CofO or a governor's consent. I'll just go ahead and explain how it is all done basically. I've told you what a CofO and governor's consent means. I've also told you the documents you need to obtain a CofO and governor's consent, and I've showed you a general hierarchy of land titles in Lagos, Nigeria. So now I'm telling you the, let me call them mother titles on which you can now go ahead and obtain either your governor's consent or your CofO title on the property in Lagos, Nigeria. Starting from the end, where we have gazetted execution, we have register survey slash deed of assignment documents. We now have governors. Starting from that age, that's where we'll start from now. Now, when a land has gazetted execution, what does it mean? A gazette book is the official government record book where all government transaction is being kept. So now, when the government exercise, let's say 100 hectares of land back to any family of that indigenous neighborhood, what it is that when they now the process of whereby they record that excision in the gazette book, it becomes gazette excision. So when any land has gazette excision, that means government already allocates that land and give that land back to the indigenous owners. Then if you as a buyer buy a land, when you get registered survey documents and you have a deed of some document between you and that family, you can go ahead and obtain governor's consent. Now, let me tell you the importance of governor's consent. The reason there is that in the future, if peradventure the government wants to collect that land back to that family and the government wants to settle that family back, when you go to land bureau and you apply for governor's consent in your own, now telling the government that, oh, Lagos State government, any state government that you are buying it, see, this land you gave back to family A, this particular this is a neighborhood. I, Mr. B, have collected about 50 hectares. I bought 50 hectares from them. Now, any further issue you have on that land, you have to come and reach out to me because the land is not my own. That is what governor's consent means. Because without governor's consent, the government doesn't know that you're bought land from them basically. If you have just some documents and register something that is just in your name and don't register with the government, that literally means the government is not literally aware about the transaction. So in case probably in the future, the government feel like, okay, this is a particular land that we give family A, we need like 10 hectares from that land back. And then the government now gonna make the family back. The government wants to settle the government gonna settle that family and know you. But when you go to land bureau and then you obtain a governor's consent or this of that means you get a registered this of documents. Then the government now look at, okay, you're the new rightful owner now on that particular land basically. So that's that. If the land already has a CofO initially, that means let's say for instance now, I am Mr. B. I bought the land and then I went there to get a CofO in my own name. That means that was the first title on the land. Now I want to sell that same land to Mr. C. Mr. C will get a registered survey of that land and a deed of assignment on that land. And then he can now proceed to land bureau and then obtain a governor's consent. Now, let me tell you the importance of this. Let me give another instance. Let's say, for instance, me, Mr. B, let's say I own 7 plots and I sold all that 7 plots because I need money urgently. And I sold all that 7 plots to Mr. C. Now, let's say that I'm in trouble again and I feel like, oh, let me resell this land, let me defraud Mr. D. If Mr. D should carry that land and say, let me go and check the status of this land in land bureau, the land will not tell Mr. D that this land that Mr. B won't sell to you is no longer Mr. B name. Oh. Mr. B has already sold all the 7 plots. Truly, Mr. B owns that land initially, but he has sold all the 7 plots to Mr. C. Then you see all these fraudulent issues of land in Lagos. It needs to be very, very reduced. So government consent is also a way of ensuring security on your land purchase in Lagos, Nigeria. So once you have any land that has a CofO or any title whatsoever, carry that land, carry your documents, carry out the other necessary things I told you about in the first place to talk about. Go to land bureau or go to your lawyer. Now we are telling you that we are going to obtain a governor's consent or a CofO on this land for us literally and immediately. Now the third line, middle, where we have governor's consent, register services as deed of assignments, and then we have government sources at the apex. Now let me make you understand that governor's consent is the highest form of land title here in Lagos, Nigeria, just because of what it means. Governor's consent means that the deed that transfer ownership from the buyer to the seller, the governor of that state or secretary general of that state have attest that okay, we are aware about the transaction between seller and buyer, the transaction between Mr. A and Mr. B. That's what it means basically. Now, let's assume that Mr. Now I sold my own land, Mr. B land, I sold to Mr. C. And that I sold to Mr. B, Mr. C went to land the way and obtain a governor's consent. Now, if Mr. C wants to set his own land to Mr. D, you know that Mr. C already has, that means he already has a registered deed of assignment document on his own land. He won't sell to me. What I'm just to do is just that, okay, I'll get a registered survey on that land. And then I also get a deed of assignment document. So that there shall be a deed of ownership from Mr. C to Mr. D. The time my own deed, I'll carry it to land bureau that, your land bureau, I'm already here. Land bureau will now transfer, they now register that deed between Mr. C to Mr. D. That means I've also got the government consent on my own land, basically. That as simple as that. That what it means. So government consent means that, the land you have initially, the government consent on your own land, you transfer that land to me now. That means it's not my own land. That means it literally means that you registered it for some documents at land bureau. You have sold it to me. That means I go to my own registered documents in my own. So if I want to give Mr. D, say to Mr. E, Mr. F, Mr. Z to Mr. Eternity, we keep on changing, we keep on getting the governor's consent forever, 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 forever. And then there will always be in your digital document, there will be a record tree and the show file number. So you know that the land initially have a show before you can get governor's consent. So now there will be the show file number, and then there will be the record of what the ownership is being transferred from family to Mr. A, to Mr. B, to Mr. C, to Mr. D. If Mr. E that wants to buy now, when Mr. E buy and Mr. E wants to sell, there will be a record of that transfer tree, like a tree diagram, having a tree diagram. There will be all the details spelled out these are the documents, and then now transfer that okay, Mr. E is now the new owner. If perhaps Mr. B want to sell, keep on selling, keep on obtaining government's consent like that, like that, like that. Now, coming to the first line where we have free land, registered services as deed of assignment, and CofO. Now let me explain what that means. You know that initially, that's what I share with you. Some lands were committed acquisition land. Some lands were non-committed acquisition. Some lands were free land. That means free land means that government did not acquire them. Government did not collect them back from the initial owner. Government did not have any plan for them whatsoever. They are just free. They are just there. They don't have any title yet. No extension title, no gazette title, no allocation title, nothing. Yes, they're just there basically. So we can go to sites now. Charge that location out. Mostly like places like Ekpe, Badagry, Ikorodu, most part of Sulere, they're just free land basically. No plan, they're just free land. So when somebody go and say, this land is just free, and they say, okay, well, since it's free, what are the current owners? What are the family that owns those land? Then what's the family? Then you now get the register survey and get the deed of assignment between you and those family. Now you have register survey, you have deed of assignment. Carry those documents to land bureau and get a CofO. I guess so because there's no title on that land whatsoever yet. So you get a CofO. That means that person gets CofO on that land. That's what it means. Finally, when you that last line where we have allocation, register service deed of assignment, and then CofO. Now allocation, let me give you insight of allocation. You see places like Shongo Tedo, Eleko, Aito Ibeshileke, where we have lot of Lagos State government allocated CofO, general CofO, global general CofO. Those you see those so that have either allocation or state government allocation or social and so allocation. That allocation means that, let me tell you what it means. Now, you know that I told you about non-committed acquisition land. That means, you see, government acquire land for 2 reasons. The first reason is the fact that probably they want to use those land for future purposes. Secondly, is the fact that they want to use those land to generate revenue. cannot see any land along an expressway as it is free. Government most acquire those lands for revenue purpose because in that you show every business will need those lands. Having along Lekki Expressway, you cannot count the amount of business you have along the Lekki Expressway. Most of those lands are government acquisition, like just allocated land to the individuals or to the companies that own those lands. So basically, allocated land means that okay, we like this land. This land is valuable to us. Now, government, you guys acquire this land. You guys don't have any plan for those lands. Even the government knows that land is for revenue purposes. That's not what the land is just for revenue. Like we have store price now. They are all land that were just non-commercial acquisition for just revenue basically. And then the workers and say, okay, this government goes and so that wants to use on social price here basically. That's just what it means. Now, the government allocate those lands back to those people now. And the government allocate the land to you just get register survey, get the of assembly documents, and then you can process issue of. Let me give you an instance. One of my favorite estates in IT Lekki, that's famous green and smart estate, one of the fastest selling estates in that as well. Landmark launched that land, that estate was around September, October 2022. And then this was not September ending or about October 1st or 2nd of 2023. They now released the approved CofO documents of that land to everybody, to us that okay, all our buyers, our realtors, our investors, this is CofO we have on famous. So initially, Landmark have a letter of allocation and it did some documents on that land basically. So we're saying that land as Lagos government allocated property. The night that goes to our COV after almost like a year. To get the standard COV takes about a year. If you're doing on large hectares of land, there are ways you can process COV, and the one is probably just run that they can play the probably within 3 months or 4 months. But which means when it's literally an estate, large hectares of land. This is a property whereby we have residential and commercial land. So it's literally about 9 months, close to 10. I mean, about 10, 11 months going to a year with that one because the COV has basically. That's how it's done basically. So anytime you see allocated show or allocated land, that means government allocated those land to them, then they're going to say the show on the land basically. So that's that about how to get government's consent and show one property here in Lagos, Nigeria. So with this, you literally know what to do next whenever you're getting any property here in Lagos, Nigeria basically. And then finally, let me just give you just this very few tip. Now for extension land or extension review land, extension review just accept that that land is does not have any title yet whatsoever. And even some land that they call gazetted extension, most times where the company are selling to you might just be like probably they just gazetted only like let's say like 50 plots. I'm selling about 100 plots. That's also always ensure that when you are buying, what they're allocating to you falls under where has been gazetted basically. You have to always ensure that before they go ahead and allocate you, because most companies that what they do nowadays in this Lagos, they just say that oh, everything is gazetted extension, whereby there's only some parts that has gazetted and they do not plan that probably later on you can public that, but they are not public that later on. So that's why you also always have to work the trusted realtor and trusted real estate company I can always trust and work with Lagos, Nigeria. For extension in view land, you just have to go and probably go and process, go and verify that if you see extension in view, most times, government will know exactly what's and most times, I can't even recall the last time an extension in view land was usually exercised because of being gazetted literally here in Lagos, Nigeria. So you just have to probably go and apply for allocation on that land basically. So now there's any like extension reviews, most likely a land that's still under government acquisition. So you're going to process a allocation on that land immediately and literally. So that's just that about how to obtain governor's consent or either is your role in Lagos, Nigeria. My name is Olaji. I'm the consultant at World Homes and Properties, and we just guide you and also share with you the best ways to offer in Lagos, Nigeria. You can always reach out to us on 0090553915. Bye for now, guys. Cheers to greatness.